to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, join us for a story about the spring habits of animals across the state. Then join us for a story about prairie women and the different ways they impact the prairie lands. Next, we'll have a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a look at an ongoing study about mule deer. Stay with us. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Well, hello again. It's Wednesday, so it's just you and me and the fake sunflowers again. So here we are on the last day of February. Wow, already 28th, you know. All of the other months have, 30 or 31 days. But of course, February, except for every fourth year, has 28. But you knew that. But see, I got to fill up 3 minutes, so I had to jabber about something. Yeah, we are about to get into the month of March. And of course, the month of March is a month of transition when we get into spring and all of that. But of course, here in the middle part of the country, that also means some pretty wild weather can happen. Although I don't know what could be much more wild than what we experienced here in February this year. So anyway, we look forward to getting into March with Easter and with the first day of spring, and of course the Ides of March and gosh, all kinds of neat things. So anyway, I hope you have a great March, and we'll be giving you stories, of course, every Wednesday here on Around Kansas. Yes, this is Around Kansas. If you've not joined us before, it's a program about people, places, and things that make Kansas a great place to work, play, and visit. And I think I might have mentioned this before, but I've got to go on this trip, and that is down to Baldwin City and get on the train down there, because it's really quite the deal. They brought some cars out of Nebraska a few years ago, and they completely redid them back to pretty much the glory of the 1940s. And it's called the Kansas Belle, and it runs all year round, and you can have dinner with you and another person or a whole group of people. And then they have also all kinds of different entertainment, from melodrama to small combos. It's really pretty great. I have yet to go on it, but I do plan to go on it probably yet this spring. So it's called the Kansas Belle, and it's down in Baldwin City, Kansas. There are a couple other trains in the state as well, and we'll tell you about those. We have some pretty good stories coming up today. March Love, and it has to do about what animals are doing in the month of March, and Deb will tell you about that. And then there's a story about wildlife, Parks and Tourism collaborating to study mule-tailed deer and white-tailed deer up in northwest Kansas. And then another story that I don't know a whole lot about, so I'm going to enjoy watching it with you too, but it's about prairie women. Okay? It'll be an interesting story. So we've got some good stuff coming up today, so we'll take a look after this. Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley.
person who's involved in ag production, cattle ranching, Bill Rischel here in North Platte, told me about Kansas regenerative medicine. And after talking to Dr. Pope, we did a lot of reading and researching, looking on the internet about it. I guess the thing that impressed me is that he told me, he said, if we don't think it's going to help you, we're not going to do it. And I thought that was a very good approach. I'm a former athlete, played college basketball, played overseas after college, had some severe trauma on the right ankle, right knee, joint in my hand also. This brace is what I had to wear all the time. Now I don't wear this during the day. That's a real improvement for me. My knee doesn't bother me. This joint came around quick. It was the first thing I noticed improving. You can see in the background here there's different fish and game that I hunt. Ability to walk was impacting my outdoor endeavors. I think it's really valuable, and encourage anybody that's interested to go down and at least do a consultation with them.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
March is a transitional, volatile month. Remember the old saying, in like a lamb, out like a lion, or vice versa? Whatever March starts out to be, it will leave with a totally different personality. But the weather isn't all that's changing in March. The Nature Conservancy offers insight into mammal activity during this last gasp of winter and early days of spring. Most mammals are either mating, gestating, or giving birth during this period. Animals can't afford to wait to mate until the weather turns warm and the flowers are blooming because their young would not be born until June or July, often too late for the growth that must happen before the young of the year face their first winter. All animals have evolved specific timing for their reproductive cycles. In the squirrel family, gray squirrels have their first litter in March, while red squirrels mate in March and give birth in April. Northern flying squirrels mate in April and give birth in May. In the dog family, red foxes give birth to their kits in late March and early April, while coyotes produce young in April. Timber wolves mate in March and give birth in May. In the weasel family, nearly all members use delayed implantation to govern their breeding cycle. Striped skunks, for example, breed in March but give birth a little later in May. Martens, ermines, and long-tailed weasels use an intermediate delay, breeding in July but giving birth in late April to early May. The longest cycle of delayed implantation belongs to fishers and river otters, a cycle that keeps the females perpetually pregnant. Both otters and fishes breed in April, but not until 350 days or so later do the females give birth. Then they promptly breed once again. March courtship displays are hard to catch, but they're magical when found. Ravens show off their flight skills in courtship loops and dives. Snowshoe hares mate, the males thumping their hind feet on the snow crust, bouncing in circles, and even flipping and twisting high into the air, as naturalist Denny Olson has written. Male grouse begin to drum out messages to females. Chipmunks emerge seeking a partner to court, the male singing at the den entrance to his chosen female in the hope she will like the song. All just goes to prove that Valentine's Day is past, but March may be the real month of love, and evidence will soon be popping out all over.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Fort Wallace was the fightingest fort in the West. Fossils, Indians, soldiers, scouts, wagons, trails, pioneers, stories. Discover the story of Fort Wallace and the people who served here, the people who fought here, the people who settled here. Wallace County, where the past is present.
I'm Scott Thellman, and this is Juniper Hill Farms. Even though my parents weren't farmers, they bought this beautiful farm north of Lawrence in 1999. In 2010, I started growing vegetables on this land. Today, Juniper Hill Farms sells produce to wholesalers, grocers, and restaurants, and is focused on growing high-quality food that everyone can afford. Watch my story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
K-State and Kansas Wildlife Parks and Tourism are collaborating to study mule deer and white-tailed deer in northwestern Kansas. The comprehensive research project will monitor movement, habitat use, survival, and reproductive success of deer in an 8-county area. Researchers are looking for answers to questions that hunters, landowners, and biologists have about the deer densities, deer-human interactions, crop damage, and the effects of landscape changes on deer populations. A big concern is a possible decline in the mule deer population. There are some indications that the range of this icon of the Kansas plains is contracting westward. The study began this month and will last 3 years. 120 mule deer and white-tailed deer will receive GPS radio transmitters. Deer will be captured and transported using helicopters operated by a professional wildlife capture company experienced with this process. A veterinarian will oversee the handling and marking of all captured deer. In addition to monitoring deer movement, survival of different year classes, causes of mortality, and species interactions, researchers will capture fawns in May and June to document reproductive rates. While the overall health of the Kansas deer herd is good, no recent studies have been done that provide this level of information, which will help biologists make informed decisions for future management of this important wildlife resource. More than 120,000 hunters pursue deer in Kansas each fall, contributing more than $10 million to fund wildlife management programs through the purchase of permits. The overall impact deer hunters have on the Kansas economy is much greater. Contact information will be attached to each radio transmitter, and hunters who harvest a marked deer should contact researchers to provide information on where and when the deer was harvested. Cooperating landowners will be provided with data gathered so that they can better manage deer on their land, and a written report will be published and available to the public online at the conclusion of the project.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
Welcome to Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in Oakley, Kansas on I-70 at exit 76. I-70, after all, is America's Main Street, and we're right here on Main Street for you. Now that I'm an Oakley resident, I still come in almost every day, and I sit and listen to the conversations of the people around me. You know, the guys who are talking about the big elk they just bagged, or the folks who are taking their kid to college for the first time. People just traveling up and down the highway. Real people, just like you and me. And they find just what I find here, real people to serve them. There's history, there's scenery. We hope you'll stop and see us soon. Welcome to Oakley.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Nowadays, farmers have modern tractors with all the technology and all the features. But the tractor that I grew up driving was an old Super H Farmall. This poem is entitled Revenge of the Farmall. My dad bought a tractor used way back in 1958. It was a Farmall Super H, which he thought was great. Yet it wasn't big or fancy, had no roll bar, cab, or radio, no three-point hitch or power steering to turn it just so. He had more modern, bigger tractors in the ensuing years, but he always kept the old Farmall around the old place here. Decades later, when we moved back to the place, I drove the Farmall but felt it should be replaced. We went to the dealer and bought a brand new tractor with all the tools and features which you would think would be a factor. It had a front-end loader and a great hydraulic system with so many wonderful features that I had never missed them. When there was work to do, I'd pick the new tractor instead and leave the old Farmall parked out back in the shed. One wintry day, I had to take a load across the meadow. I fired up the brand new tractor and moved across the snow, when suddenly the tractor's front end went down with a whack into a snow-filled ditch. I couldn't go forward, couldn't go back. The new tractor had front wheel assist, but it was in too deep, tires spinning on the slippery slope where the angle was so steep. I tried to rock it, but there was no such luck. Thanks to my bad judgment, the new tractor had gotten stuck. I considered my options. I trudged back with sinking heart and decided to see if that old ignored Farmall would even start. To my surprise, the engine caught with a growl and then a shout. We drove across the meadow and pulled that brand new tractor out. It must have been a funny sight to see this curious trip, like watching a Model T help out a new spaceship. Now things are back to normal. When there's a tractor to be used, I choose the brand new tractor because of all that it can do. But Dad was right, and just because his thinking was so sound, I'll embrace the new technology, but I'll keep the old Farmall around. Happy trade.
Welcome to our Bar B, 8,000 plus square feet Western store with something for everyone in the family. We have boots, belts, hats, jeans, anything you could want to outfit you and your horse. Come visit our line of saddles. We have 400 plus new and used saddles in stock. We offer tack, grooming supplies, headstalls, breast collars, you name it, we've got it for you and your horse. That's our Bar B, 1 mile east of Highway 4 on Northeast 39th. Our Bar B, where Western is a way of life.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
Welcome to the Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collection, where we showcase my renowned frontier military and Native American artifacts. Behind me you see a touch of fall. We put together not only the beauty of Micah Highwalking, who is the first graduate of West Point of the Northern Cheyenne people and a dear friend, but also a Hudson's Bay blanket that I have here in the gallery. The unique opportunity that I was able to have was we unveiled this painting and surprised Micah at Custer Battlefield, a true honor.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
I grew up on a farm, but I always wanted to be a cowgirl. I did. And I wrote stories and drew pictures of myself riding my horse across the Flint Hills.
They are the last 4% of the once largest continuous ecosystem in North America.
And the people I met along the way on my journey kept drawing me back to the natural resource, to the grass.
People who don't know the tallgrass prairie are missing out on something very, very special. There's always a story to tell.
Join us for a number of compelling stories about some of the engaging women who preserve, protect, and celebrate the tallgrass prairie in the Flint Hills of Kansas.
Regardless of where you're born or where you grow up, you have a certain connection with a certain kind of landscape. For some people, it's mountains. For some people, it's ocean. And for a few of us, it's the prairie. I feel an urge to learn as much about it as I can because I don't think we have any idea about prairies. I mean, I know there's been a lot of research done, but we haven't been focused on grasslands. There isn't anything sexy about a grassland. It's not a mountain. It's not a stream in the mountains. It's not an ocean. So I just think part of it is giving people the opportunity to come out and experience the grasslands.
Beginning in the 1980s, Jane issued a special invitation to women who were interested in spending time on a ranch when she launched a residential program that proved to be quite popular.
I did a program called Prairie Women where people paid me to come work my cattle, which was, well, it's kind of genius at the time. But the thing that I learned from Prairie Women, because people always thought that was just a one-way street, they were having a great time. But number one, it allowed me to stay on the ranch but still have interaction with all kinds of people. So that was enjoyable for me. It expanded my world, even though I was staying in a single place, a small place in some ways. I mean, for what's offered here. I mean, it's agriculture. It's not like you have the theater and a lot of other things. But also, Prairie Women, we'd work cattle all day and we'd be cleaning up afterwards. And I think, we're losing daylight, or as I always like to say, daylight's burning. We need to get everything cleaned up. And they'd be going, wow, look at that sunset. And so they helped me to see this as a place, not just as a business. And I think that was a huge piece of it, is that they'd stop and say, hey, what's this flower? Or, they didn't just want to work all the time. They wanted to enjoy it too. And sometimes especially with agriculture, I think we just get so caught up in what we're doing that we don't see how lucky we really are. And so I have no doubt I'm the luckiest person in the world.
Well, there we go. I'm Frank, and I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part